Hey guys, it's Josh here and welcome back to another speed build video. I think it's been a few weeks since my last modern house, so I was just like, yes, it's time to build another one because honestly, I'd never turned down an excuse to do a modern house because if you've been following along with some of my other speed builds, you'd know that I really like to do modern houses in The Sims. So yes, that's what we're doing today, and I really like how the exterior of this house turned out. I'm actually quite surprised at how happy I was with it in the end, because at the start, as you can see right now, it looks a little bit like questionable, I guess, but as I kept refining the details and added landscaping, I really actually started to like how the exterior was turning out, so I'm really excited for you guys to see as the build progresses. But anyway, this display home is a 3-bedroom house, one of them being a master bedroom, the other one just being an additional bedroom with a double bed, and there's also a bedroom with just a single bed in it as well. And with the single bed, I don't think you'd be able to fit in a double bed in it, so it would be a really nice kid's bedroom or a teen's bedroom, and once they age up, it could potentially be like a study, because I'm sure once your teen ages up in The Sims, they may move out or they may potentially just... You can extend the house, I guess, or build a basement or something, but it could potentially be a really nice study space or like a hobby room, so you could have like a chess table in there or like a pool table or something. And downstairs there's also it's a really open plan on the ground floor because this is a modern house, and I'm pretty sure like open plan living is a really modern, I guess, design element. Is it an element or is it like a feature or something? So it's just an open plan living area. And there's also a bedroom, there's also a bathroom downstairs, and upstairs there's also a secondary bathroom, I believe. So this house basically has 3 bathrooms. Well, the bottom floor, I think I just said there was a bathroom there, but it's actually just a toilet and a sink. So there's a public little toilet for guests, I guess, or if you're just downstairs and you need to go to the bathroom, you can just go to the toilet there. But upstairs is where the main bathroom is, and also the ensuite. And as you can see right now, this is where I'm playing around with my little idea that I had with columns and half walls and end tables. Honestly, I'm not even joking, the center of the columns right now are just base game end tables, with the beams being the city living beams. I think they're the sculptures or something. They're in the decorations category, I think. And I just wanted because I just really didn't want this huge column going all the way up to the top, so I thought I'd play around with it a little bit, and how you see it right now isn't actually how it turns out in the end. I do change it a little bit and move the beams around so it just looks a little bit more consistent, since looking at it from different angles at the current state it looks really different. So half the time it looks solid, half the time you can tell that it's beamed, and it was just really hard to tell. So in the end I decided to just remove the ones that are sideways and just kept the front facing ones, and I think it turned out a lot better in the end, and you'll see it when we get there. But anyway, we are just playing around with the foundations now, nothing too special, and I think it actually takes quite a while to finish the exterior house before we even go inside, so if it does end up going on for a little bit longer, I will just skip through it. But for the most part, this is the house shape, and the windows that go in, I do mess around with what kinds of windows to use, but in the end I use those really tall windows, and I also use some of the base game square small windows as well, just for the second floor, since I just thought it would look really weird to have this huge window spanning from the bottom to the top floor. And the Get Famous windows, I kind of wanted to use them, but at the same time it didn't look as modern as I'd like it to. It does kind of look really nice, but I can see those windows looking good if the house was made out of bricks, but this house is made out of concrete renders, and on the top floor it's made of sliding material or paneling, so it just didn't look as good as I wanted it to. So as you can see now, the top floor at least is getting the small windows, and the bottom floor is getting the really tall windows, since I really like how it looked in the end, having it kind of matches up loosely, so where the tall windows are on the second floor, that's where the short windows go. And the top floor rather actually has 2 decks, so maybe it would have been a good idea to have it connected to the bedroom, but I decided to have both decks pretty close together, and you can basically get to either of them quite easily. And I don't think I actually put anything in them, so maybe for the screenshots, if I do end up going back and adding a few things to the little deck areas, but at the moment, at least for the speed build, I actually don't put anything there, but I can imagine maybe a few seats or a chess table or something doing really well out there, and maybe even a yoga mat. Like honestly, how cool would it be to just do yoga? It's kind of really public though, so maybe if the deck was on the back, it would be a nice idea to put yoga mats there, but it's at the front, so if you do yoga, you'll be able to, people in the public will be able to see you doing it. So now that the house exterior has been essentially complete in terms of the house itself, I think it's just time to skip right ahead into the interiors where all the good stuff is. Starting with the kitchen as per usual, one thing I wanted to add in this house was an island counter, because I definitely don't do enough of them, since most of the time my kitchens are too small or in a location where a island counter does not make sense. So when I decided to plan out the kitchen in the area it is right now and make like an L sort of shape, I knew that this was a perfect opportunity to place down an island counter, since it just makes so much sense. Another thing I also do is I change the color scheme of the kitchen, since the kitchen as it is right now is pretty dark brown, and I honestly don't think that if this was a display home, people would really like the kitchen, since it's really dark, and I really wanted to have like a really nice light kitchen, since I feel like a display home, if anything, really needs to be welcoming and nice and calming and light colored, so that people feel cozy and like kind of calm. So yeah, that's the basic decision as to why I changed the color scheme of the kitchen. So I ended up changing the counters itself as well, since the cool kitchen counters don't have the most swatches. Like they just have really basic brown swatches, a blackened swatch and a white swatch, and white was just too bright for me, so I ended up picking I ended up using the base game counter, as you can see right now, with like a slightly lighter beige counter color, and it's got a really nice white top. So it's a really nice like hybrid of what I wanted. So I wanted to make use of like a brownish color while also keeping it bright as well. So I feel like the beige counter cabinets with the white countertop is a really nice combination of both of is a really nice combination of the two things that I wanted. And now we're moving on to the lounge room. It's nothing too special, like I just wanted to keep this house really basic in terms of decorations and the type of furniture used, so as to not like overwhelm any visitors or anyone who decides to come and have a look at this display home, since obviously display homes are meant to be really appealing to a wide group of people, since like this is not like any specific person's house, so it's not like tailored to one person's like likes or dislikes, or I don't know why you tailor it to a dislike, but it's just not meant to appeal to just one type of person. So this is meant to be really broad, really simple in terms of design, so that anyone can come and have a look at this house and be like, oh, I really like that part of the house. Anyway, we're back in the kitchen real quick just to place down the breakfast bar, because breakfast bars in The Sims are one of the things that I really like to build or really like to add in houses, and I do not do enough. Just like the island counters, I don't put down enough breakfast bars as I like, so I thought this is a perfect opportunity to place one down, since there was that like little gap between the end of the kitchen and the end of the house. So I thought, yes, that's basically a perfect place to plop down a breakfast counter or a breakfast bar, since it's always nice to have that additional table space as well, just for like if you have a lot of guests over, you don't have to worry about like getting a bigger table or anything, and some people can just sit down at the breakfast bar and have their own little conversation there or something like that. But anyway, as you can see now, we are working on the little guest bathroom or guest toilet room, I guess, because there's not even a bath in there. But upstairs, as I said earlier, was where the main bathroom is and where the ensuite is as well. And as you can see right now, we are placing down the beds for each of the rooms. I like furnished the bedrooms quite differently to the way I normally do them. So I like placed the beds down for all of them, and like I placed the end tables down for all of them. And I kind of just like went in a circle. It was so weird, but I think it turned out pretty cool in the end. And one thing at this point in time though is there is actually there's no main bathroom upstairs yet, because I don't know why, but I just like did a dumb, and when I was doing the upstairs area, I forgot to like make a spot for it, and I ended up having to shuffle up the upstairs area, as you'll see very shortly, because as you can see, there's no main bathroom, so I ended up adding it in, and that's basically why one of the bedrooms ends up shrinking because of it. Actually, I don't think the bedroom becomes smaller. The outside upstairs, the main upstairs area is what shrinks, and honestly, it's for the better, since I don't know what I would have even put there to begin with. So in the long run, it's beneficial for the build. The single bedroom ends up getting a desk with a computer as well as a bookshelf and like a armchair. I think like basically every bedroom in this house ends up getting an armchair, since I feel like that's kind of fancy in terms of design. So for a display home, I thought it was like honestly the best idea to put an armchair or some sort of chair in the bedroom, because like it's really fancy. Not everyone has one in their own bedroom, so like if you look at a display home, it's like, oh, that's fancy, this is a really nice house. Like honestly, it's just those little things that just make a house be more than just a regular house and more towards like a design home or like a display home that's meant to like kind of be appealing to a wide number of people. Also, one thing I forgot to mention is that the upstairs area ends up getting a little study nook as well as another sofa area. So in a way, this is kind of like a secondary living space. So there's definitely plenty of spots to sit down, relax, and read a book and use the computer to like study or research or something. And there's also plenty of bookshelves. So there's like a little book. I don't know why or what made me decide to do this, but I made this like little tiny 1x1 room with a door to it, and I put a bookshelf in there. You'll see that in a moment, but I don't know why I did that, but I kept it and I guess it turned out pretty cool. Like it could be like the little private book area, I don't know, like a display kind of place to display your favorite books or something. I'm not too sure, but that's what I did. If you don't like it, it's so easy to delete. And I also put like this bookshelf above the sofa as well, like raised up. So I don't know if your Sims can actually reach that, but I just thought, at least for decorative purposes, it was somewhat a nice idea, since obviously you don't really want blank walls. And I thought, might as well make it look functional and utilized by putting like a shelf there. I guess if you don't like that, you can also just replace that with like a actual shelf, and you can place clutter and stuff on that and do what you please. But anyway, as you can see right now, we're working on the ensuite, and it's pretty simple, nothing too special. The same counters from the kitchen, everything is consistent as I said. Like one thing I wanted to make sure this house did was be consistent, because this is a display home. It's meant to be really easy on the eyes, very aesthetic in terms of how each room goes with every other room. So everything blends well. Everything has a similar color scheme. The bedrooms have slightly different color schemes because, as I said in countless other builds, I hate making carbon copy bedrooms in my houses, and I always try to make each and every one of them unique. So I'm really excited for that one day that I decided to build an 8-bedroom house, and like each bedroom I have to try and come up with different ideas, because that would be crazy. But anyway, as you can see, the master bedroom is kind of like really light brown, really white. The secondary bedroom with the double bed is really dark brown, and then I actually forget what the single bedroom color scheme is, but we'll see that in a moment. And I wanted to use the Get Famous like clothing rack, but it was way too like casual for me. Like it just looked really informal, and there was just like costumes and stuff in there. Like honestly, Get Famous, why didn't you not add like a generic one that didn't have costumes and like weird things like that? Like we want like a basic one, like the ones in Sims 3 where it just had generic clothes on it. Like honestly, I'm pretty sure that came with base game as well, so that's pretty crazy. Like Sims 4, like can you please do that as well? But anyway, I was gonna put like a secondary little reading space as well, but honestly, with the sofa, that's almost too much seating like in itself, so adding even more was gonna make it way too much. So I decided to delete that, and I put down a simple accent table with a few decorations that go down later, because as you can see right now, there's basically zero clutter in the house. And once I finish the basic interior, I do go around and place like some clutter here and there, because even though this is a display home, you kind of want to make it at least seem like it's a little bit lived in, or make it like kind of represent what it would look like if someone was living here. Because if you had this like house with like no plates or no like tools or anything like that, or utensils I mean, when it comes to cooking in the kitchen, like that is not really representative of what the house would look like if someone's living in it. So I thought like if I was gonna put clutter down, it would be in a really nice organized fashion. As you can see right now, like everything is in its place. Like all the clutter is like placed in the corner, so it's like all combined, and like it doesn't look messy and spread out. It's kind of like well organized. But yeah, I think we're just working on the basic decorations now. So essentially the furnishing's all done. We're placing the paintings, plants, and clutter. And honestly, that part is probably one of my favorite parts of building, and like it's just so much fun to like decorate houses. Like when I was a lot younger, I really wanted to become like an interior decorator, but in the end I decided to just become a designer instead. So right now I'm actually in university in a degree for design, 3D design and 3D modeling and all that kind of stuff. So I'm actually so excited. It is actually so much fun right now. I'm not too sure how next year and the year after that will be, but like I am like pretty motivated right now, which is, I'm really happy to say that. But anyway, we are just about ready to move upstairs to start cluttering up the upstairs area. And before we do that, I do end up changing the floor color to be a beige color instead, I believe, because I think as the build progressed, I just started to realize this house was really white, and my previous display home that I built was basically fully white and black. So I thought I'd just change it up a little bit more and make the floor on the ground floor at least a beige color. The upstairs floor was already wooden, but the downstairs floor was like this white marble, so I decided to change it to like a tile that was like a beige color scheme, which made the room feel a lot more cozy as well, if you ask me. Anyway, we are now just working on finishing up the clutter upstairs before we move right down to the exteriors. And I don't know why, but like I'm actually so happy with how the exteriors turned out in this house. Like generally, I see myself as like an average builder in terms of exteriors, because I do not have the patience like some other amazing builders do to like be so specific and like intricate in terms of how they place their plants, how they place their rocks and stones and like terrain paints. Like I do not have the patience for that, and I am so jealous of the people who do, because I just cannot sit down for like an hour just working on landscaping. But somehow I managed to make this exterior of the house look really good. Like I was surprised by how good it turned out, to me at least. Like I don't know how good you guys will think it is, so like I'm so happy with it. I'm really excited for you guys to see it, and it basically turned out exactly how I envisioned it, which is really rare for me because it's so hard for me to build what I imagine, at least in terms of the exterior. But anyway, we are almost done with the cluttering finally, because I just cannot wait to start talking about the exterior. One more thing before we move to the exterior is the fact that I do kind of decorate the garage space with a few skill items and shelf space as well. So there's a floristry table, there's a workbench as well for the people who like to be handy, and there's also, I believe, I put a car down in the end as well, just a toy car. And I know some people hate those, so if you don't like it, you can easily delete it. And it just adds a little bit more like character to the house as well, just to have this like really kind of like somewhat expensive looking car. Just helps make the house look really display and like really have a nice look and feel to it. And one thing I did realize was that there was actually no door from the garage straight inside, so I'm really sorry for that, but like I realized it was way too late to change everything up to try and fix that. So I'm so sorry if you really wanted a garage space that you could easily access from the interior, but for this house you're gonna have to walk outside and back inside, which is a little bit of a shame. But anyway, we're just quickly finalizing all the lights in the house as well, just so that everything is all nice and well lit, because the last thing you want is have a really dark house or a really bright house for placing too much lights. But yes, we are finally working on the exteriors now. I'm so excited, and I am so happy with how the exterior front area turned out. Like some of the gardens I made at the front, I just really love so much, and I hope you guys do too. Like honestly, when I build houses, I really hope other people like them as well, so I really do my best to try and make it as appealing to others as possible, not just to me, because I feel like if I made a house that like basically fit only my expectations, then I'm not sure how many other people would like it, because there are certain things that I really like in houses that other people may not like. So I always try to make houses as like universally compatible as possible, if that makes any sense at all. I feel like that doesn't, but I hope it does. But anyway, we are just putting down the fence, because obviously this is a display home. This is meant to be really luxury as well to an extent, so the backyard area is somewhat private, and honestly there isn't really a great view because this is like in the middle of a suburb area, and like if you wanted a nice view you could go upstairs I guess and look out the window, but like if you're downstairs you wouldn't be able to see much apart from like a few trees and other houses. So putting a fence down makes kind of more sense to me, and This is one of my favorite types of garden. Well, this is one of my favorite gardens in the house, and that is the slightly raised ones, as you can see. But like right now, like I actually really like how it turned out. It's kind of like a garden bed of sorts, I guess. And in this corner right now as well, I put down like a few spiky plants. I don't know what they're called. Are they like succulents or something? But I really like how the plants in this area turned out as well. And I overall really like this corner of the exterior. Like I put down, there's like multiple garden beds, and I tried to make it look somewhat tiered. You'll know what I mean in a moment, but like I used like a smaller kind of fence. I used like the get to work miniature fence for like the secondary garden bed, and it kind of makes like the really nice separation from one and the other. And I also use like different terrain paints as well to like change the texture of the ground as well, which also helps with making the house making the garden beds rather look somewhat like tiered and separated. And as you can see right now, that's exactly what I'm doing, and you'll see in a moment. Like I also picked different kinds of plants as well. So like there's like this really nice bushy garden, and then also there's also like this really like succulents garden, like using like desert plants as well, which I think looks really cool. Like I know that there's many luxury homes in real life that like use many like different types of like desert plants, or like dry low maintenance plants, like plants that can survive for a long time without that much water, or like just with rain without having to go out of your way to water them. I decided to make like a really large like succulents garden as well. And on the opposite side of the path, I also put some more of the similar type of garden down as well. And yeah, that's basically what happens. Yeah, awesome. And I also put a few more garden beds down in front of the pillars as well, since like that space is kind of empty, and I just wanted to put like at least a little bit of garden down in that front area as well. Maybe if you wanted to, you could actually move the front door to be the actual front of the house instead of the side. It kind of made more sense to have it right next to the garage instead. But if you wanted to do that, you could easily do that and like have the footpath go between those two gardens as well. I think that's a really good idea. I don't know why I didn't do that, but anyway, you can do that if you wish. And we're just finishing off the lights as well. And then after that, as you can imagine, we move to the back of the house, which honestly, if you ask me, isn't as great as the front. But I do put a lot of garden down and a lot of like functioning items for your Sims to use, like a barbecue, a pool, as you can already see. And I also put down, I think, like a fire pit as well. Like I really like the fire pit. Like I put it like in the corner of the pool area, and it just feels really cool. I know that there's a lot of luxury homes that have like a fire pit in their backyard, which is really nice, and I really like how it looks. And apart from that, there's also like a really big willow tree, I believe, and there's also a chair that goes underneath that as well, so your Sims can like relax. And there's like a pebble stone footpath to it as well, like a it's not pavement or terrain paints, but it's just like stepping stones, I guess. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. But anyway, that's basically all there is to this speed build. There will be a screenshot slideshow at the very end of this video, so if you'd like to see that, definitely stay tuned. This house will also be up on the gallery as modern display home, and there'll be a direct link to that in the description below if you'd like to use that instead. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys!